Live from the hot air balloon capital of the world, this is Balloon Fiesta Live. The 47th edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon, is happening now in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And now, live direct from the rooftop studio at Balloon Fiesta Park, here are Glen Moyer and Lloyd Jr.
And good afternoon and welcome. Mics are hot only if you push the button. It's been a long week, folks. Good afternoon and welcome back to Balloon Fiesta Live. I'm Glen Moyer, thrilled to have my buddy Lloyd Jr. back with us after a morning off. And we are getting set for our first Special Shapes Rodeo Glowdeo, and coming up almost immediately, an appearance by the Fast Track Skydiving team.
About 3 minutes away from that, we should have a live feed from the helmets as they come down, as well as be able to shoot them, take pictures of them from the ground here. We don't want to actually shoot at them. We'll take pictures of them. Before we get to that, I want to thank you for covering this morning. Kim Vesley for covering for me this morning.
She did a great job.
I think we're all back to good here. So.
Well, we hope so. We missed you this morning, but glad that you got things taken care of. And yeah, Kim did a great job. And it was Throwback Thursday. And, Kim worked with me 5 years ago, and you worked with me a little bit. So
I did watch you guys this morning.
Yeah,
I was home watching.
I know. I was getting all the text you could.
Trying to send notes to you about where this was and where that was.
Go away. Let us do this, will you?
Well, I thought long and hard about how much of that I really wanted to send to you. But
no, that's
anyway.
fine. At least we knew you were up and you were watching and you were feeling good enough to watch, so that's what was important.
That's good. I got a chance to take some good notes watching the feed without having to concentrate on what I'm saying and doing.
Always being an executive producer, never taking the time off.
It is. I should mention there's a little bit of some gusty winds coming out of the south here, so we've temporarily taken our set backdrop down
here.
So
now you're really seeing this is the entire, as you look around, rooftop studio.
There it is, no longer hidden by that.
There is a roof back there, but we don't get to work under it. We're out here in the elements, but that's okay.
2 minutes, the fast track, folks. We now have aircraft radio contact with the skydiving team, so that
we can monitor their progress.
Exactly. Yeah. They have a ground handler on the ground, Sam Deeds. In fact, you guys talked to him this morning.
We did.
Sam is on the ground here, monitoring the winds on the ground. Of course, they're talking to the divers and the pilot that is in the plane circling around, and comparing the winds up there with the winds down here.
And there's a live shot from right inside the jump plane, folks. There you are. If you look on the big screen, if you're here on site, you can see literally a live shot from right inside of the jump plane. This is amazing technology we're able to bring you this year. And, of course, all of the divers, I think, are wearing helmet cams, so we'll have some live feed from them, too, on the way down.
Yeah, actually, this is one of the live cameras here. We get one of the cameras they stream. We get the footage from the others afterwards.
Okay.
And so we're editing that together, and we'll be able to use that and show that to you later on. So 1 minute to go. Let me quickly tell you the divers.
Thumbs up.
Matt Harvey, Demetria Dadich, Yulia Pangburn, and her husband Brian Pangburn. Brian should be bringing in the U.S. flag, and Yulia is actually the one whose helmet cam we will see.
Okay.
The other two will do some sort of maneuvers coming in.
Standby light is on, and
there it is.
It'll go green when they're at the jump spot.
30 seconds, they're saying. So we'll just kind of watch and call it as we see it here.
This is amazing to sit here and watch this happen from the airplane.
Yep, they're waving at us.
Yeah.
I think that was Brian waving at us.
Oh, a little bit of a breakup in the signal. They are...
well, we're having to track them.
Yeah, they're circling, and we're tracking
and we're tracking it when we get all the way around here. When they make that circle, we got all of a sudden go the other way.
Don't go over the roof there, Steve. Yeah. I know you're doing a good job, but it's not that important.
And, of course, they will, with the winds to the south, they will actually launch south of the field here.
And then
ride those winds in, and then go past the jump zone and land back into the wind.
Yeah, I think we have jumpers away. But they're around behind us.
Yep, so we have the feedback. There's the chute deploying.
And, by the way, they are sponsored, as you can see, by Selection.com.
So looking up, tying things off. So we have
look at that.
At least one in the air. I'm sure that as fast as they all jumped last week, they'll all be right there. So there's the view. Down in the lower right-hand corner, I saw Balloon Fiesta Park.
And that's the Rio Grande River there.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
We're looking at where balloonists like to do splash and dashes during the course.
So there's two chutes farther down.
There was
actually
all
three of them there.
There's Balloon Fiesta Park. That little green patch you see is where we're at.
Kind of the oval almost looks like a racetrack in some ways.
Almost, it does. What an incredible view.
Yes. Brandon, our editor, was editing last week's video here, and he told me afterwards it felt like he had just jumped.
Well, there was that shot when one of them came in to land, and it was literally like you were flying to shoot.
It was.
It was just it was just awesome. No other word for it.
So while we continue to, have they made it over us yet?
Now that we got the feedback.
Well, the plane is back over us, but again, they're...
Yeah, well, it's easier for me just to sit and watch the monitor.
Oh, there they are. They're almost directly overhead.
Turn around and look back.
Yeah, you got to look up almost directly overhead to the south. And Brian has now deployed the United States flag.
Yes, he has. Look at that shot of it on the feed.
Yeah.
What an awesome shot. This is just incredible. And this is the first time these Team Fast Tracks has jumped with us. First time at Fiesta. They jumped earlier in the week. But it's the first time they've been a regular feature here at Balloon Fiesta.
So there's the shot from the ground.
There's the formation, the 3 jumpers with the American flag, all 4 of them now.
And the game plan here is for once they come down to stand our special shapes up in the rodeo Glowdeo. We'll see how that works with these gusty winds.
Yeah, we may have a bit of a hold tonight.
Yeah, but then the idea is the jumpers will come back and do their own pyrotechnic or fireworks show in the sky.
These guys have to get on the ground, gather up their chutes, get in a vehicle, and head back to the airport, repack or reshoot, and then
Resuit up, I found, because I've seen some of their diving gear different at night than it is during the daytime.
Absolutely.
Because it's all lit up.
And because they have the pyrotechnics attached to them.
Yes.
And so they talked a little bit about that when we had them on live this morning. And so, they've got to get back and get re-geared up, resuited up, and ready to come back and fly overhead and make another jump, which should be ideally immediately following the balloon glow and then just prior to tonight's fireworks.
Yeah, they kind of kick it all off.
They do.
Is the way it is. So, what a great shot of Brian with Fast Tracks bringing in the United States flag here.
I just love this shot, though. Look at that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're just like, you're doing a tandem dive without being attached.
Absolutely, yeah.
All the members of Team Fast Track have to have at least 1,000 jumps before they can even try out for the team.
My goodness.
And then from there, if you are just lacking a skill or two, they may take you on the team and teach you the rest of that. But they are very selective in who they bring onto the team. There are actually 40 jumpers as part of the team. Last weekend, they were jumping in 5 locations around the United States at the same time.
There's actually the jump plane circling over Balloon Fiesta Park now, crossing over in front of us.
And you had Tyler with you on the show this morning, too, the chief pilot.
Yes, yes. Look at that. I'm getting dizzy.
Yeah. Little smoke there.
You can see for a moment there, you can see the museum complex, which is, there it is, just to the south.
Well, I noticed the whole line
Park.
of spectators along. Oh, we're setting some of the just firecrackers off now. They're low enough that we're hearing that.
Oh, yeah. Kind of a precursor, if you will, to tonight's
yeah. Well, the fireworks guys used to shoot off the big noise stuff first, and
Yeah, there was always that boom, that one big cannon shot that says, "Okay, we're about to start." And
what a great show!
Yeah, trailing red and blue smoke. The 3 divers that are not carrying the flag. Actually, they may be trailing red, white, and blue. At least the second diver is trailing. No, he's trailing white and blue. The first 2, and then one's trailing red and blue.
So we'll see. Looks like we're going to get one down, and I'm guessing Ulia with the camera is the second one coming down.
Well, I was thinking maybe she was the one up there without the smoke.
One.
They're landing out on the
west
west side of the
field. Here comes the one with
the
camera, so this would be Ulia coming in. And a nice stand-up landing.
Yeah, nice touchdown.
Yep, collapse the selection.com chute.
And now the third diver actually gets up in front of the flag so that the American flag will be the last jumper down. These are ram air chutes these folks are flying. Ram air meaning that the front leading edge of the chutes are open and they fill with air as the parachute is being flown through the sky. It creates essentially lift a little bit like a wing does on an airplane.
Look at that flight coming in. What a great shot we have from the ground here to complement the great shots we had from the air.
Yep.
And they catch the flag. The handlers do, and Brian is down. Team Fast Track, ladies and gentlemen.
Team Fast Tracks, yeah. Awesome. And before anybody says anything, yes, they do have handlers that gather up the flag immediately. Because of the nature of what they're doing, it sometimes does have to touch the ground, but they actually gather it up as quickly as possible to show maximum respect to the flag. So we don't need anybody reminding us that the flag's not supposed to touch the ground. We know that.
And then here's the flyover by Tyler, our pilot. Yeah.
It's a shame. There. I was going to say maybe he'll give us a little wing wag, but actually he's just doing a turn.
There he is.
So, Team Fast Tracks, what a great show that was. I love those aerial views. That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? Hey, Team Fast Tracks, this is announced. Great job, great show. We'll see you later.
Hey, thanks. We had a lot of fun with 8.
All right, so they appreciated that call out. And now Tyler gets to go back to the airport in his plane. The others have to get in that van and
Tyler has the easiest commute.
He's got the easy job. Yeah,
he can just turn and steer the plane back to a landing over at the airport. So.
Oh yeah, what a great start to our Thursday night Special Shapes Glowdeo here with Team Fast Tracks dropping in. The aerial views sponsored by Selection.com. We appreciate them making that happen for us here tonight. So we have a great crowd out there on the field, I see. And
already,
and our balloon trucks are kind of spaced out there. I believe the pilot's briefing is just concluding. Looks like I'm starting to see some trucks come back from
over
Sid
the
Cutter,
Sid Cutter Pavilion,
which is where the briefing was. So they'll be coming out, and we'll be getting the official word from our assistant balloon meister who runs the glows here for us as to what the game plan is for tonight. Of course, scheduled to stand the balloons up, all the special shapes, allow you to get up close and personal with them. One of the few places in the world you can actually do that.
Yes.
Walk in and among balloons, inflated, ready for flight, even though there will be no flight tonight because this is a static display.
Yeah, Balloon Fiesta is, in its essence, an air show.
Exactly.
And FAA regulations being what they are, at most air shows, spectators have to be held back behind a retaining line.
Yes,
and,
off the flight line.
Off the flight line, but that's not true here at Albuquerque. And it's true even at many other ballooning events. Spectators are held to a secured area, and unless you have credentials and you're part of one of the balloon teams, you're not allowed out among the aircraft. But here, at some events I know we do in Plano, if the weather is calm enough, we will open up the launch field and let the crowd out during the balloon glows. Here at Albuquerque's Balloon Fiesta, though, our field is open all the time.
Except for the competition target areas.
yes,
of course. And actually, I just saw a shot down there by the main stage, and there is some flagging down there. And the reason for that flagging down there is that is actually the primary LZ, or the primary landing
for the
zone
skydivers
for our Team Fast Tracks.
But I think because the wind was what it was, they chose to land in the secondary LZ out to the west, because there's far fewer people out there, and they have a little more room to land safely.
Primary by the stage, and the secondary along the already flagged off area, which is part of the fireworks overflow from our fireworks later on. The fire marshal, we have to have a certain sterile area, if you will, where fireworks will overflow. Could overflow, come down. We have to have that area cleared. So there is a flagging along the west side of the field as well.
It's interesting. I can recall being at the Malcolm Forbes event at his chateau in France, and the balloons all were in the back garden, and then they had carnival rides and everything else around it, and it was all fenced off.
I've seen pictures.
And they did a fireworks show there, but where we were in the back garden on the launch field, the ash from the fireworks was falling on us. And so that's why we have our secure area, so that doesn't happen to all the spectators here.
Well, there was one year that we were launching America's Challenge gas balloon race. In fact, was it last year or the year before? It was the year before. We had all the gas balloons laid out, ready to go. We delayed the inflation because of winds down line. We did the glow, and we did the fireworks, and the ashes were coming over onto the gas balloons that we had laid out here.
Oh, wow.
So a little bit of concern about that. Everything was fine. We had no issues.
I don't recall that, because typically once we're done here, I don't stick around to see fireworks, because we have, as you know, as we both know all too well, we have very early wake-up calls in the morning, and so once we're done on what was the super secret announce tower and now is the rooftop studio, I at least try to get out of here as quickly as I can so I can get back to the hotel, catch a few Z's, and be back out early in the morning.
And I, being part of a gas balloon chase team, would
Had
end
to
up out
stay,
here
yeah.
and help them launch.
And stayed.
And be involved with that.
And there were years when the gas balloons didn't go until midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, those made for very long nights.
Yeah, I bet they did.
Last year, though, was probably the best, when they actually took off right before our glow on the first Saturday
about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening.
Exactly.
They went. Yeah.
We were starting to inflate hot air balloons as we're launching the gas balloons out of here, so we had the huge crowd. And actually, you can go back. We talked about Balloon Fiesta Live here.
Yeah, archives.
It's archives.
Right.
If you were to go back, you would see that launch. Kim Vesley, who was on this morning, who's doing reporting for us here as well, she was and is the media liaison for the gas race. She was announcing from down at the platform.
From the launch
platform. I was up here on the rooftop studio, and so we were talking, and we spent, because it takes a couple hours to launch gas balloons to inflate them. The launch is quick, but the inflation is the long part. And we talked through that entire thing for about 2 hours.
Wow.
About how that was working and trying to describe what the French did, because they started to inflate and then pulled it down. And we explained all of that, talked a lot about gas ballooning. That archive is up there on our YouTube page and our Facebook page. You could go back and check that out.
Well, and even this year's events are archived shortly after we finish with the broadcast. And I have a friend in Australia from elementary school who I've been chatting with on Facebook, and she sent me a note and said the live feed really wasn't working for her because it's at a weird time down there. And so I said, well, no problem. You can simply log it back in, and you can see any of this week's events in the archive. So you can essentially watch them on demand whenever you'd like, if the live feed time, she sent me the times, I don't recall them, but it was really early, really late over down where she's in Australia. So I hope that Yolanda is checking out the archives and watching some of the events that way.
Well, yes, especially this one here. While it's nighttime here, that puts it very early in the morning,
very
even
early
in Europe.
The morning. Yeah, and in Europe it's very early in the morning, and down under it could even be tomorrow already.
It should be.
I could check on my iPhone, look at my world clock, and see. But yeah, it could be tomorrow already down there, where they would be watching it. So the archives are there, not only from last year, but you can watch any of this year's events that if you missed the opening Saturday morning or whatever, all you have to do is log on and check it out on the archive.
You can go to the Facebook page and see it there, or if you go to the live stream page on balloonfiesta.com, I'm telling people that's really the easiest way.
Yeah.
Because everything
is there.
The link to the Facebook page, all the archive links are there. The live show shows up there.
Well, and you can even share those, because we saw where Scott Vesley, when we had a little interaction with him as he was launching the other morning, he posted that entire show on his Facebook feed and then said, go to 1604, and that's where
it was conveniently
him on camera having a good time as he was launching. But yeah, you could actually share entire shows, their entire events that we've done here, and we encourage you to do so. Because the more we get shared out, the more people become aware of Balloon Fiesta Live, and we've already surpassed all of last year's viewership. So, and we've still got 3 days to go.
Shortly after you went off the air this morning, I updated all of our viewership share numbers for
I see
you.
your graph.
So I have my graphs here. So last year, about 384,000 views.
Total over the 9 days.
Over the entire 9 days, 14 events.
Right.
As of this morning, and we're finding a lot of people watching the archive, so this will definitely go up. But as of right after the show ended this morning, we were over 500,000 watching us so far. And then we talked a little bit about ABC Network, and actually a Fox station in Nashville picked up and put the feeds out as their own.
Right.
So they were getting the views, but I'm counting them back in. And with those, we're at 725,000 views.
Wow.
750,000 people have tuned in at some point.
Well, your goal that you set as executive producer was 1 million views. So we're about 2/3 of the way through Fiesta, and we're 3/4 of the way toward that 1 million view target.
So it would really help us if you did go ahead and share that out.
Absolutely.
And help those views come up, and watch early and often as well. So we've talked about our reporters. We talked about Kim Vesley. We also have Ruth Lind with us, and she's got some folks from some RVs.
Mesa RV, I think it is.
Oh my goodness, yes, I have Kip Wills with me here from La Mesa RV. La Mesa is one of Balloon Fiesta's sponsors, and you know what? We could not do Balloon Fiesta without the support of our tremendous sponsors that we have here. Kip, tell us about the La Mesa relationship with Balloon Fiesta.
But one of the main things about La Mesa is we have over 40 units here that the VIPs and dignitaries stay in while they're at the Fiesta. Not only that, being a sponsor, Doug Schwabach is on the board of directors. He's one of our biggest helpers. And La Mesa itself is a great company. As you can see, we have Han and Kenny here. And the nice thing about it is we try to help and give back to the community with donating, well, not donating, like helping with people here staying in our units. And the good thing about it is we've been doing it for years, and it's really nice.
Do you come out to Balloon Fiesta every year?
Every year. It's been 25 years. I've flown off the field for over 20. It's awesome. It's a great experience. As you know, you've been up in a balloon. You know how it is.
I do. Thank you so much for joining us, Kip. We hope you have a great evening.
I will. Thank you, Ruth. You guys have a great night.
Thank you, Ruth. Always glad to hear from the folks that help put this together. I think you guys talked this morning about the 1,100 navigators or volunteers that volunteer their time throughout the year, but especially in these 9 days and the few weeks leading up to it to be able to put everything together here. But we couldn't do that without sponsors like La Mesa RV, of course our presenting sponsor Canon, major sponsors like Beambo and some of the others there as well. So we appreciate all of them being out here, putting the confidence in here.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a little feedback to them because not only are there 800,000 people who will come to the field these 9 days, but as we're talking, we're going to have 1 million
there's
people
a million people
online
watching around, and they're
well.
watching around the world. We're
Yes,
not talking
they are.
about just 1 million people hanging around Albuquerque. We've seen people checking in online from Japan, from Australia, from Thailand, from Taiwan, from
Netherlands,
the
Germany.
Netherlands, from Germany, from Scotland. I've gotten messages from friends watching there,
Even
from
from
the
that
UK.
foreign country, Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hadn't thrown that one out at you yet.
Yeah, that's okay. It's
Even
good.
the folks in Florida that are being bombarded by hurricane, tropical storm Mike, whatever it is now, they're talking about what a relief it is to see something nice and calm and peaceful on the feed, considering what they're going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're glad to provide that, and we certainly hope that everything turns out that you and your property are as safe as possibly down there in Florida.
Yeah, I thought
and the other states that are getting hit by it now.
Yeah,
too.
I think the storm has already moved through the panhandle of Florida and into Georgia, and eventually will move on up into the Carolinas. So, and we have balloonists here from that region. I know we've got Ken Drawn, who's here from North Carolina. We've got Robert Wilbanks, who's here from Georgia, are personal friends of mine. So I know we have a lot of balloonists here from that region, and they have to be very concerned about what's going on as they're away from their homes and out here with us in Albuquerque.
That's got to be scary.
Got to be. I mean, on the one hand, it's probably a little bit, not thinking what's the right word. I mean, it has to be a little comforting that they're here where they're nice and
they're
safe.
They're not smack in the middle of it.
And they're not in the middle of it, but their homes and their property and their friends and relatives are there. And so certainly I know they must have concern there. And one of the first things that I heard in one of the early ABC News reports was that one of the first services that goes is cellular service, because there's so many people trying to compete for so little cell time that cell phones just almost went inoperable almost immediately once the storm came on shore. So you have no way to get in touch with people. Power lines, phone lines are down all over the region, will be probably for days, if not weeks. And so, yeah, while it would be comforting to be here and be safe and amongst friends, clearly those folks have property and friends and relatives that they're concerned about, and our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in that region of the country as Michael does what it's doing.
So the latest word on the winds here is that the winds are between 8 and 12 miles an hour, which is just a little bit too strong to set the balloons up.
Okay.
But the forecast is for at sunset for those winds to diminish and calm down, and for us to be able to have our Glowdeo. We were watching just a moment ago one of the balloon crews starting to take the equipment out of the trailer.
Saw that.
Pulled the basket out. That would be Peg Leg Pete.
Oh, okay.
The advantages of the banner number on the side of the basket.
So that is Dave and Kathy Reinecke with Peg Leg Pete. And Peg Leg is, I've never asked them. I've known them, I've seen that balloon for years, and I never can figure out if it's a pirate's parrot or if it's a parrot that's a pirate.
Yes, that would be a great question.
Yeah. And someone asked this morning, and Kim, someone asked Kim, or they commented online,
Yes.
I forget which, and I don't think we've ever discussed it, and that is, do we know how many people Rainbow Riders flies on average in a typical balloon fiesta?
I don't.
I don't know, one, what their capacity is on a single flight.
Right.
You know, and sometimes they do hops. In other words, you'll be in the load that goes off balloon field, and then they'll land, and then sometimes they'll reload the basket and
Right.
fly again. But I'm just curious we need to get with Scotty and find out what their capacity is with counting all of their balloons, launching off Balloon Fiesta Park. What is the capacity for passengers total?
It's probably
and
a business secret.
It could be, but
he could give us a ballpark.
But then over the 9 days, what does
that work out?
What's the conglomerate number, the cumulative number of people of riders that they take up over the course of the 9 days of field? I don't think I've ever heard that number.
I don't think I have either. I talked with Scott Appleman the other day and invited him up to chat with us. But of course, not only is he flying the Dos Equis balloon, he's running that huge ride operation.
He is, and I did see that he found a way to get up onto the South Tower just one morning and was chatting with a lot of the officials. I think he got sidetracked going and went there, and then by the time he could get over here, we were probably wrapped up for the morning.
That may have been.
But he usually manages to swing by at least once every year.
Scott also is providing not only the rides here, but he has become a sponsor of those navigators that we've been talking about. So helping with the expenses of outfitting the navigators and providing some support for the efforts as we try and thank the navigators for all the work that they put in. That would be another astounding number. 1,143, I think, is the last number I heard of navigators. And how many hours do they put in?
I was going to say, I
across?
wonder what the cumulative, I keep saying conglomerate, what the cumulative
hours is.
Man hours would be among that group that they put into making this event happen.
Well, we try and ask them to do a mandatory 5 shifts, or a minimum of 5 shifts here. Each shift is at least 4 to 5 hours. So if every one of those navigators is doing the minimum, 20 hours, and I know most of them are here for many more hours per shift and are here for 14 shifts.
Right.
So we get those averages there. We could probably do some quick math here.
Maybe you could. Math was not my subject, so I do have my phone here with a calculator, so maybe I could work that out.
We could figure that out. That would be a great statistic for me to pull up. One of the other things that I do for Balloon Fiesta during the year is I keep up a PowerPoint or a keynote presentation that the board of directors and other members of our ambassador group can take out when they speak to groups. And in there there's 550 balloons this year, and here's the new special shapes, and here's the size of the field, and those types of things. You know, every other year, Fiesta does an economic impact statement.
Right.
And we put those numbers in there.
Yeah.
But we need to go back and add we talk about 1,000 volunteers and a staff of 14. But we need to do that math.
It would be interesting to see the number of man hours that goes into creating and putting this event together and operating it. You know, and it's not just the hours over the 9 days and the 14 shifts. It's, we've heard so many people here say that, we wrap up Sunday morning with a farewell mass ascension, and on Monday morning they start planning for next year. And so this is a year-round workforce in many ways. Now, all of those navigators obviously aren't working year-round, but the staff certainly are. And
the field has to be torn down. All the tents have to come down. This has to get turned back into a golf academy.
Right.
Within about 30 days, because Balloon Fiesta literally leases or rents this field from the city of Albuquerque from the day after Labor Day for 60 days.
Right.
So, yes. And, things come down faster than they go up.
Well,
usually, but it still
I know,
takes
I
a while
usually
to
do
that. Yeah. And a little secret.
Just between us and a few 100,000 viewers. Yeah.
One of the we usually say yes. The planning for next year starts the day after this one ends. But there's already been planning in place for the 50th, which I think you heard a little bit this morning.
Yeah.
Those are getting started. The official poster is one in a series of 4.
So that's already
in the works. The pins that designate the year, those starting with 47 this year, so 47, 48, 49, and 50.
Right.
We're saving some of those back so that on the 50th we'll have a collection of 4
sets.
years.
Right.
And the theme for next year has already been chosen.
Aha.
The bumper stickers have already been printed.
Well, I was going to say, normally those show up out here, usually on Saturday or Sunday.
Saturday or Sunday.
Just
I know
before
where
we
they
wrap
are.
up. Aha.
Under lock and key. I even know the theme. But just like you were sworn to the secrecy of the Hunter boot,
I
am
right.
sworn to the secrecy of the 2019 theme.
Yeah, and speaking of the Hunter boot, which is one of the new special shapes that we have here this year, I was told that the CEO is here with us as a VIP
Very nice.
of Hunter boot. So we're certainly hoping we'll get to see that again tonight. We had a wonderful view of it this morning. In fact, I know you were watching from home, Art, and we were talking about what size is it, and maybe we can get somebody from Hunter to give us an indication. But I know we were talking, Kim and I were talking later when Beagle Maximus inflated.
Yes.
I said, that's the Beagle Maximus, being the dog, is just about the right size to be the hunting dog for whoever it is that would wear that size
boot.
of Hunter boot.
Yes.
So that would be, and we were talked about it. It was a shame the Hunter boot by then had already launched and flown away. But it would have been great to have that perspective, because I think the dog would have been just about the right size if we had a full-grown man or woman wearing that boot. Then it would have been just about the right perspective, I think.
Right.
So,
and I think the boot, you also mentioned relating that to the sneaker, formerly known as the
famous
footwear one. And so I think in looking at those, I think the boot might be about a size smaller than the shoe.
Might be. And
but
I realized
it's much taller.
And I didn't mention it this morning, but I did catch just a quick glimpse. I didn't realize that the famous footwear shoe was here.
Yeah, it was there. I saw it on the feed.
I saw it on the feed too. It was way down on the other end, but I did see it briefly. But just after I saw it and was busy, forgot to mention it. But we did have both the shoe and the boot. So I think you're right. The boot might be just a bit smaller, but Hunter, of course,
makes up for it in the height, though.
Yeah, Hunter making, of course, rain boots, and I was having a look at their website, and they have a whole line of outdoor clothing is beyond just the boots. But the Hunter
maybe
boot,
after a few years we'll have a second boot, and then we'll have
maybe we could put a full person together.
Outfit
we
the
can
whole
stack balloons together and create, a Hunter person.
And then they can go after the penguins and the lions and the koalas and the wolf
and the bees and the bears and oh my. Hey, Ruth Lynn has a couple with her that are celebrating.
They look dressed up down there.
Yeah, they do. A special event here this week at Balloon Fiesta. So, Ruth, fill us in.
Well, Leon and Nydia are celebrating their 5th wedding anniversary. Unlike some of us, they are in their original wedding clothes, and they still look fantastic in their original wedding clothes. Leon, you work for the mayor's office.
I do, yes.
And what brings you here to Fiesta?
Just to celebrate 5 years, my home, love this. Fiesta is a beautiful time of the year, so.
And Nydia, you're from far away.
I'm from Puerto Rico.
And what brought you to Albuquerque?
I used to be rich and in a band, so.
Do you still make music?
No, I'm just kidding.
You used to be rich and now you work for the government. Yeah, we know how that goes.
I'm a lowly public servant, so.
So what are you doing here tonight to celebrate your wedding anniversary? Just hang out in your wedding clothes, or do you have special
photos
Some photos and reminisce. We got married in Puerto Rico, and it happened during the balloon fiesta, and so we never got to take pictures with the balloons. So we're hoping the weather will get a little bit nicer, and we'll get some good pictures with the glow.
Yeah.
Well, that will be wonderful. Congratulations on your 5-year anniversary. We hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back upstairs.
Thanks, Ruth. Yeah, and I was in a band too, but I was never rich, so maybe he and I need to talk. Then I got into balloon announcing, and I'm not rich now either, so somewhere I took the wrong turn in life, I think.
Yeah. Well, and the only money in ballooning is the money you put there.
Well,
to paraphrase Sid Cutter.
I was going to say, it was our dear founder, the late Sid Cutter, who said, I know there's money in the sport of ballooning because I put it there.
Yeah.
And I certainly can relate. I know what you were saying, Sid. We've got, I was just watching as we were about to pitch down to Ruth, there was a nice shot of the crowd all along Main Street with the picnic tables, people just kind of sitting out and relaxing and enjoying the evening. It's a nice evening out except for the wind, and it's great to see a nice sized crowd here this evening, and it will only get bigger as traffic continues to flow in and people arrive for what hopefully will be our Special Shapes Rodeo Glowdeo tonight. I'm curious, I know one of my old crew chiefs, a gentleman named Gary Rominger from out in California, used to use the term rodeo glowdeo here, and then I know Mark Passan, the artist over in England,
that has done a number of the special shape
who
posters.
did a number of the special shape posters for several years, used the term rodeo glowdeo. I'm just kind of curious, do we know who coined that term out here the first time?
I don't. I think I know the story of how we got to that point, but who actually came up with it and trademarked it or patented it? I think it's a trademark. Or
is it now?
Or a registered mark on it. I'm not exactly
mark,
sure which it is. But if you remember, when we started bringing special shapes out, which would have been in like 1989, we used to bring the special shapes out in the afternoon, and we would launch them out of here.
Yeah, there wasn't a glow. They actually launched and flew away.
In a way, they went. I did a live half-hour show in 1990 with all the special shapes launching from around me.
Well, and I remember the one year, I don't recall the balloon, you might, but I remember the balloons were inflated and waiting to launch, and one of the tie-off safety lines broke, and that balloon
It was Uncle
took
Sam.
off unexpectedly.
It was Uncle Sam.
Was it Uncle Sam?
And Scott Appleman was the pilot.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and his girlfriend at the time was kind of hanging on, and she luckily let go before the balloon got in the air, but still got bounced and drug around a little bit. One of the news helicopters was up and caught the fairly dramatic landing of that, because obviously he wasn't expecting to go, but did a great job of bringing it down in very high winds.
Well, I was here on the tower, and you could hear we heard this loud crack when that line broke, and away they went. And we should mention that if you're on the field tonight, if we are able to stand the balloons up for the glow, you want to be very careful, because all of those balloons will be tied off. Those safety tie lines are a requirement for that very reason, so that the balloon cannot or should not be able to leave the ground and get airborne until the pilot is completely ready and does that. So all of these balloons now are, in that particular case, it was a lot of wind and some pressure on the line.
And a fitting that actually gave.
It was actually a fitting, not the rope itself that broke. But there will be lines running between the baskets and the vehicles, and so we always tell people, walk around the baskets, don't walk between the baskets and the trucks, because that's where that tie-off line will be. And once it gets dark, it's hard to see that.
And then just to finish up that story, so we were calling them rodeos because we had all these special shapes here.
Right.
Well, then after a few years of running into the high winds all the time, trying to fly, and the huge crowds that come out here that really want to see the balloons, we decided that maybe it'd just be better to do a static display. And so it turns into a special shapes glow, but we were calling it a rodeo, therefore it transitioned into a glowdeo. So rodeos in the morning, glowdeos in the afternoon.
Okay. Well, I just know my crew chief, Gary Rominger, used that term, rodeo glowdeos, a lot before I remember it being kind of an official word here amongst Fiesta. So just curious where that came from. Hey, Ruth Lind has another interview down on the field, and she's talking with one of our top-notch competitive pilots who also happens to be the defending Balloon Fiesta champion, and I think that's Maury Petrin who's down with Ruth.
Sullivan, I think, is down.
Or she got Maury Sullivan.
I have Maury Sullivan.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. My bad.
Yes, Maury actually is the championship director for the U.S. National Hot Air Balloon Championships with the Balloon Federation of America. He's on the BFA Hot Air Competition Division, on the BFA Board of Directors, and this year he's serving as a safety officer here at Fiesta. What exactly do you do as safety officer, Maury?
Well, we try to make sure everybody's safe. We've got a team of probably 12 or 13 folks on the safety team. We're headed up by Henry Rosenbaum. He's Chief Safety Officer. It's a matter of scouring the field and being proactive to try and foresee things that maybe aren't being done quite right and get them corrected before they become accidents or incidents. We've had a good festival so far. It's been pretty good.
That's terrific. Can you give us some examples of the specific things you're looking for out on the field, both in the morning when there's actual flights and during the static displays?
Sure. I think tie-off, number one. Make sure, especially the other day, we had some pretty heavy winds. And the nature of the tie-off, the length of the tie-off, where they're tied off to, that's critical. We've got just how they're laid out. The general, do they have enough crew? Have they trained their crew properly? it's any number of factors. Fan safety, of course, is a big deal on a field like this that's full of lots of spectators, kids, things like that. You want to make sure that somebody's manning or at least keeping an eye on the fan to keep the little ones away, or the ladies away that maybe have a scarf or a loose garments and stuff like that. Those are the two probably biggest safety issues. We've had a couple of propane leaks, so we want to get there right away, make sure that we get that propane dissipated as quickly as possible. But we're looking at the envelopes, we're making sure the systems appear to be in good working order, and the pilots are on top of their game.
That sounds terrific. We so appreciate your efforts for the safety of all of us here at Balloon Fiesta. Thank you so much for joining us, Maury, and we'll toss it back to you guys upstairs.
Okay, thanks, Ruth. And Maury, my apologies. As he knows, it's not the first time I've introduced him as Maury Petron, and it probably won't be the last.
So we're starting to see a little more activity on the field as balloons are starting to pull the baskets and equipment off the truck. That is a good sign. And our officials for tonight, Melissa Bond and Chuck Rascom, were just up here.
I was going to say, they joined us, or at least they came up and dropped off a bunch of gear.
Their radio to be able to talk to things, and so I got the scoop from them. We are on a slight hold here until sundown. Sundown is officially at 6:36 tonight, so that's another 20 minutes away or so. And we continue to expect the winds to calm down tonight at about sunset. And so about 6:36 or so, we should see the cannon balloon stand the balloon up, and that will be the signal once he stands up for all of our special shapes to start their inflation and to stand up as well. We'll do our Glowdeo here tonight. We still have a laser light show coming along about 7:30, I think it is. Fast Track and their pyrotechnic jumps, our skydivers that brought the flag in, they will be back about 8 o'clock. And as soon as they jump, that's the start of our Afterglow fireworks, this year brought to us by Sandia Resort and Casino.
There's a nice shot on the feed. Well, they just went off of it as I was about to talk about it. I was noticing there were a nice crowd gathering around the chase vehicle. There we are back on that shot to Bimbo the Bear from Bimbo Bakery, and you can see the vehicle there with the Rise and Shine logo on the side of the truck, or the truck, and that is Bill Baker out of Tyler, Texas.
We used to call those chase commanders.
Well, that's not actually a chase commander. That's that new. I can't tell if that's
transport vans.
I think that's the new Ford transport van. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Chase Commanders.
Second generation of the Chase Commanders.
Yeah, the Chase Commanders back in the day, they had literally were like an RV. They had a living
one of those
quarters.
Little on a van chassis.
I've probably told far too many war stories here this year, but as we're filling time while we're on hold, a friend of mine in Tyler in Longview, Texas. Not take it back. He lived in Tyler at the time. Phil Glee with the Pontiac Balloon Team was the guy who used to manufacture those, the Chase Commanders. And a friend in Tyler, Texas, bought one, and he called me up and said, "What are you doing this weekend?" Or the next few days. I said, "Nothing." He said, "Well, if I give you an airplane ticket, would you fly up to Michigan and see Phil Glebe and pick up this Chase Commander and drive it home for me?" I said, "Yeah, sure, be glad to." Went up, got into Michigan late at night, and picked up the vehicle and got on the road. And I pulled into a car park somewhere in, I think, Illinois that night, and pulled out the bed and turned on the TV. And sadly enough, that was the night that Princess Diana died in a traffic accident. So I remember vividly spending the night in a Chase Commander, watching TV from my bunk. Feed. And watching the news from over in the UK of the tragic events around the death of Princess Diana. But that was my one time. And the Chase Commander was built on the Ford F-350 van chassis, and I had a Ford F-350 van that was my chase vehicle at the time.
That's why you got to drive it.
So it was very similar. I just had to remember it was a little bit longer, so when I made a turn, I had to make the turns a little bit wider, but it sure was a comfortable vehicle to drive and travel in.
Just a moment ago on our live video feed on the walls and on our stream here, we saw some pictures of the kids' jump zone.
Oh, yeah, and that's that's right behind the main stage area, isn't it?
At both ends of the field, I think, is we have a little setup there as well.
All right.
Definitely back here at the south end. There it is again. So the ability for kids to go do all kinds of things. Those are on the bungee lines there.
I think I'd be losing my shrimp right about now if I were doing what that young lady is doing.
Well, I They've got one of those in the Cottonwood Mall over here where you can put kids on there.
Yeah.
You can stand on the balcony and watch it really nicely. And so many kids they just kind of bounce up and down.
Well, you can see that's what the two on the sides are doing. But that one young lady there was. She
doing
was getting into the spins
and all the other
flips.
things, and there goes the one. Yeah, flipping over there. That's what we always tried to tell them to do. But some of them are just kind of young and haven't figured that's the fun part out, and just bounce. Oh, now the middle one's getting involved with it too.
Yeah.
And you can see some basketball shooting behind there. There's some lots of things that they can do for the kids zone areas out there. And so this would be a great time to go check out the kids zone in the north and south end.
Yeah, because as you said, we're on a bit of a weather hold still, so plenty of time for them to take part in that. Actually, it's a good thing my 30-something niece Courtney is not here because she does gymnastics like that.
Oh, she'd be all over that.
She's into trapeze and silks and that sort of stuff, and yeah, she'd be all
there we
over
go.
that.
Yeah. Give them a little help there to get
there
over
you
and
go.
flip. Yeah,
wow.
Now they've got it.
Oh, yeah, I'd be losing dinner about now, I think.
I saw a comment on the feed a couple of days ago that someone was out here with their family member and had a little issue with their mobility scooter for that person.
Yeah.
And they were starting to ask about places out here. We do have a scooter, wheelchair, stroller rental places at both the north and south end of the field. So if you have some difficulties along those lines, or forgot it or brought it, you might check that out. We were talking about Scott Appleman before.
Yeah.
There he is, sitting down there in Sponsor Hospitality.
Having dinner.
Yeah. Is back to us there, and his lovely wife Heather right next to him.
Well, and we also have
more customers.
Yes, indeed. And you were saying that we were also asked to talk about the bike valet system we have?
Yes.
So you've got some information on that, I think. I don't, but I believe you came equipped.
Well, of course, we run a free bike valet. The parking is at the Balloon Museum right behind us, and it's free. And what's really nice is the bike trails in the city of Albuquerque lead you right to that spot. So we wanted to remind you that is a free and easy way to get here. What I do need to tell you, though, it is not open all night. So there are closing times, and we need you to pick up your bikes by closing times. And so the bike valet closes at 9 o'clock in the evening. So tonight it will close at 9 o'clock. Now that's still 2.5 hours away. You have plenty of time to enjoy the evening and still get your bike by 9 o'clock. And if you're here in the morning, they close the bike valet at 10:30 in the morning. So they're open for very nice hours, but they really do need you to pick your bike up by 10:30 in the morning or 9 o'clock at night if you ride it in. What they've sometimes have had to do is take your bike to public safety, and then you're wondering where it is and how to get to it and all those other things. So just for your own safety and convenience, if you ride your bike, and boy, it's a great way to do it, pick your bike up by 10:30 in the morning or by 9 o'clock at night so that you don't have any troubles finding your bicycle. So the crowd continues to build here on the field. We're seeing a little shot of the band that's playing down here in Sponsor Hospitality. I know the folks down in the Gondola Club probably have some entertainment going on down there as well. And at the far north end of the field, at the Chasers Club, there's probably some entertainment up there as well. Just a few of the places that you can get some VIP treatment. Gondola Club, you get your own special parking areas and courtesy shuttles and gourmet meal. Chasers Club, it's more like kind of a light meal up there. And you have the ability to purchase alcohol up there in the Chasers Lounge. Big Jack Daniels setup up there as well.
Right.
As a new sponsor, I think last year or the year before was their first year back. And then Sponsor Hospitality here, you can become a sponsor of Balloon Fiesta from the level, as Lori Riedel told us, from about $1,000 up to probably a couple million if you wanted to be the title sponsor.
Well, and as we discussed the other day, one part of Balloon Fiesta that is not yet sponsored is Balloon Fiesta Live. And we now know we've got 700,000 plus views. There's some exposure to be had for a company that wants to step up and be the sponsor of Balloon Fiesta Live and our broadcast. So,
and while we have taken our backdrop down due to the gusty winds, you've seen it.
It's
700,000 people have already seen it. You know that it says Balloon Fiesta Live and Balloon Fiesta on it.
And if we were to have a sponsor, then we would have a new backdrop made that would say Balloon Fiesta Live.
Absolutely.
And the Acme Brick Company or whoever it might be.
And all of the snazzy opens and closes that we do, you'd be in there. We'll work out whatever it is to need to get the
and exposure. And, of course, I'm already
company.
practicing. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Balloon Fiesta Live, brought to you by...
Acme Brick.
Yeah, or,
or your name here.
Or your name here. Fill in the blank. Absolutely.
We'd love to chat with you there. Our sponsor folks will get you...
Laurie will take care of you.
Take care of that, and I'll work with Laurie and Stephanie and sponsors to help customize the package that works best for you and us.
Absolutely. And I should mention, although I guess it won't do any good, but we did get word from one of our friends, Barb Tomlin, who is up in the Northwest.
Yes.
She sent me a message saying that apparently there are some technical issues. There's no audio on the Facebook live feed, but the folks down in the production truck are aware of it, and they're working the problem.
Okay.
So
Great.
It may already be fixed by now, but we do know about it. Obviously, the folks watching on Facebook Live are not hearing us say this, but maybe those of you that are commenting at least or can go on to Facebook and comment that we are aware of the audio glitch, and our crew are working the problem, so we hope to have that resolved if it has not already been done.
I think it looks like they're restarting it here to see what
to restart
what
the feed.
Here.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Could be.
So we'll get back to something there soon.
Yeah, I'm not watching the feed online. I'm watching obviously our live feed on the monitors here.
We've actually had really pretty good internet connectivity out of here this week.
We really
had lots of issues last year, but we seem to have most of them fixed. We've had a couple of little glitches, but the really...
Okay, we just got the word from our crew, top-notch crew. Gary, you guys are doing a great job. Facebook is back up and operational, so for those of you that are watching on Facebook and now can hear us, our apologies that we had...
it just wants to start my video all over again.
Okay,
here, but now
we
had
we had some audio difficulties, but apparently that has been resolved, and so hopefully our viewers on Facebook now can...
and where I was heading with that, even if we have some online streaming technical issues, we are recording the entire show.
Well, that all goes back
truck.
to the archive, so yeah.
And so if the live show had any issues, we'll upload the recording.
The recorded
so
version.
You'll see the entire show.
And hear the entire show.
And hear it all. We'll take down the broken pieces and bring it up.
Look at that crowd shot. That's all the way down at the north end. Those little pointy top tents that you see is where the chainsaw wood carving contest and demonstration are going on all week long. There's some incredible artwork to be seen from these folks that have crafted these things out of big, huge logs with chainsaws, and they do some amazing work down there. Speaking of doing amazing work, our intrepid reporter Ruth Lynn has another interview, and I'm not going to say who so I don't introduce them wrong.
Well, this is the guy that's in charge of the status flags.
Okay, well, Ruth, it's all down to you.
A little bit.
Yes, I'm down here with Tom Bueno this evening, and you're right, Tom is in charge of the status flags. It's really kind of fun the way you do that in the morning when you're putting up the flags.
Yes, Ruth. So what we do, about 2 years ago, I would put up the flag, and I decided, and I'd see a bunch of the crowd, and they would clap when I did that. And I said, you know what would be really, really fun is to get a family with a couple little kids and let them do that. And so I started doing that about 2 years ago, and they really enjoy it. So behind the main stage, right after pilot briefing, say around 6:20, 6:30, if everything looks good, we usually raise the flag up there, a green for go, a yellow is a caution, like a maybe, and a red is we're not going to go. Tonight looks like a pretty decent night. It can be somewhat marginal, but you never know. So our chief weather person, Brad Teemeyer, will make a decision here in a little while. But we want to first be safe, right? We want to make sure that everything's safe and that the spectators have an enjoyable time, and the pilots have responsibility. So we want to make sure it's a good safe evening. So we'll let our weather guys think about that a little bit more, and they'll watch it. And the report I heard is that if once it gets down a little bit darker tonight, that it might be better, and we'll see. Sometimes the winds calm down after the sun goes down. So let's hope for that to happen.
I remember when I was first flying back in the late 70s, early 80s, my daughter used to say, Mom, all we ever do is stand around and watch the wind. And stand around and watch the wind. And standing around and watching the wind is sometimes what we need to do to get a safe event.
Oh, absolutely, Ruth. We want to primarily make it safe. A couple of the years I was the chief launch official out here as well. And our motto with all the zebras and the launch directors and the teams are we're going to have a safe and a coordinated launch. So that's what we want to do. And that way everybody's happy. It's a win-win for everybody and it makes a very enjoyable day or an evening event like tonight.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us, Tom.
Absolutely.
And we'll go back up to Glen and Art.
Hey, Ruth, before you let Tom go, how does he choose the family with the kids to put that flag up?
How do you choose the family with the children to put the flag up?
So what I'll do is look around. What's really nice is if I can find a family, what's really neat is if the grandparents are there, the aunts and the uncles, 2 or 3 of the kids. I look for a family, and when the kids are awake, because it's really early sometimes in the morning for the kids, but as soon as I invite them over and tell them that they have an opportunity to put the green flag up and tell all the pilots that they can fly, they get super excited. They might be a little bit drowsy then they wake up, and I'm not sure if it's the grandparents who enjoy it the most or the kids or mom and dad, but they sure enjoy it, and the crowd really gets into it when we raise the green flag.
That's so much fun. Thank you, Tom.
So I guess the idea then is if you're interested in doing that, be hanging out by the main stage before the flag goes up.
That's right. Be hanging out at the main stage before the flag goes up.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Thank you, Ruth, and thank you, Tom. And we'll look forward to seeing that flag being raised. The yellow flag is up now, as we saw on the feed a little while ago, but hopefully we'll be changing that to green before too long.
Well, it is now 6:36, and that makes it an official sunset.
And I don't know if we could come to the camera, Gary, down in the truck. I guess I could be using talkback, but I'm just intrigued as you look direct to the north, and there's this V in the sky. You start over near the Sandias and come see how just that V of bright blue sky there, and everything else is kind of dark. That's just an interesting little weather feature that I've noticed there that looks kind of
the sun hitting the bottom of the clouds, adding a little pink and orange to it.
Yeah, a little pink
there.
on the edges there. Yeah, there you go. See? Isn't that it? I mean, it's just a nice little, almost an arrowhead that points to, it looks like something streaked through the sky, or would it be struck through the sky? Streaked, I think.
I think it is streaked.
Through the sky, but I just thought that was a unique, kind of a unique little weather feature there we're seeing tonight. Okay, thanks, Gary. That's a great job by our top-notch crew, as always.
Yep. So we are now just awaiting the arrival of our officials for the launch here and the official go-ahead.
And that is not the yellow flag we were talking about. That was just a chase flag, a Zia flag there.
Right.
The yellow flag is...
I'm just looking at the concession flags along here. They all do seem to be calming down a little bit. Not quickly, but
every time I say that, it's like watching the anemometer the other day. There's the official yellow flag there, just behind the main stage. But every time I seem to say it's calming down, then all of a sudden it seems to get gusty. So I've kind of refrained from saying that.
Well, looking up the hill there, you see a couple of those flags are really whipping pretty good, and others are maybe not quite so much, which could be a feature of the topography there.
Well, again, because that is on a hilltop, and that's well above the level that the balloons would be inflated at, and that's why you see people walking down that hill, coming down into Balloon Fiesta Park. You can see, you see that bright orangish flag up there at the top of the shot, really blowing. But look at the white flag in the center at the very bottom. It's just barely moving.
Yep.
So I think that is where we're seeing some example of the topography and the impact that it has on the wind around here.
Well, the entire Albuquerque area is really a big river basin with the 10,000-foot Sandias on the east and 1,000-foot or something volcanoes on the west, and the river cutting right through the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then Balloon Fiesta Park is kind of like another bowl inside that big bowl with the big berm on one side and a little bit of berm on the other side. It almost mimics the entire Rio Grande Valley that we're talking here. So we get the drainage winds as they come down the mountains, the cold air coming down to the bottom, the hot ones up. So it does continue to mix through. And we'll continue to do that. And again, as we've talked numerous times, once the sun goes down, there's no more heat. That kind of slows that mixing around and just lets the cold air that's left just plop right in.
Yeah, and so that's what we're hoping for now that we have reached official sunset, is that we will see the winds begin to calm down.
And we can see the crews all standing there. They're here to put the balloons
they're ready.
up.
Yeah.
They're ready for a show. We just need a little help
There's
from
even
Mother Nation.
all those vehicles you see parked there along Balloon Fiesta Park down one of the roads. Those
Yes.
are all other balloonists who are out to see the show because they have passes that will get their vehicles onto the field, but they park over along that one road to the west, so they're not infringing on the launch.
That road you're seeing
Yeah,
right there. That's the road. Look at them all.
There's a whole bunch of balloon pilots out here tonight to see these special shapes, just as there are public spectators, non-balloonists, I guess you'd say.
Balloon enthusiasts versus balloon crew.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of pilots and crew that are here to see the special shapes Glowdeo as well.
Well, we have 550-ish balloons registered here. About 100 of them are special shapes.
Yep.
So those that are out on the main launch field, that's 100. That leaves 450 to be parking over there.
Yeah, and I doubt that they're all here, but there certainly is a big there's a big number of them over there.
A couple hundred there anyway.
And they come out because it's a great night of entertainment when we have Team Fast Tracks, and then we have the Glow, and then we have the fireworks. And so it's a wonderful way to spend an evening here in Albuquerque, whether you're a spectator coming to see what is for you perhaps a unique special show, while it's something balloonists see a little more on a everyday sort of basis, or at least a routine basis, but they still come out to see it because it's great entertainment. It's
great fun. If you've never been to a balloon glow, you are in for a treat if we get this off here tonight. Just the feeling of being in the middle of the field when 100 or 200 balloons, whatever we have out there, when they all hit those burners at the same time.
Yeah.
The power, the roar of the burners, and the sound and the light just hitting all
and
at
the heat.
once. And the heat.
The
yes,
heat,
don't
which
forget
feels
the heat.
pretty nice on a chilly evening.
It is just something to
the one thing
experience.
that we will not see, that we did used to see on the older fields before we had the beautiful carpet of green grass here, and it was dirt, was you would also see this cloud of dust because there were all the spectators walking around amongst the balloons. When there was a glow, it was like this cloud of fog that was just all of a sudden lighted up from the light of the burners, and it was just a big dust cloud.
We are very thankful for the grass.
And look at that sunset tonight. Look at that pink sky.
That little V that you had is now expanding all across.
And look at that. What an awesome sight. It's a glorious evening tonight. We're just unfortunately dealing with a little bit of wind. If we could just get that to cooperate and go away.
But it's a good night to be out here. It's still nice and cool, and there's lots of people out there getting their winky blinky lights or saber swords or whatever. And so we're going to have a lot of glowing, even if we have to do something quickly with the balloons themselves. So get your lights and get ready to glow.
Yeah,
know where the flashlight feature is on your phone.
Right here in front of Sponsor Hospitality, one of the somebody that's got one of the staff golf carts has.
There's two. There's one just out of your view on this side.
I see it now. Yeah, they've got some glow sticks.
There's
or
a whole
something.
cart of them being sold down there in the middle of that picture.
So we could have our own sort of. We've got Darth and Yoda here, so we could have our own sort of lightsaber show, as it were.
We could. Ruth has found someone to chat with. Ruth Lind.
I have. I'm here with Ashley Moore and Christopher Hallam, and they are flying the Wolf balloon. We tried to get with them this morning. I understand you have a fun little ritual that you do when you launch.
Yeah, we'd like to try and get all the kids involved. So if a kid wants to try and get a card off of us, they've got to try and start howling. If they're not loud enough, then they don't get it. And adults as well, we make sure we're all part of it. And then as we launch, we love instead of a cheer, a really big howl to try and get everybody interested in it. So it's good fun. It's all good fun.
That's wonderful. And you're not only a special shape balloon with us here this year, you're also part of our Flight of the Nations. Tell us about where you're from and what the flying is like there.
So we're from Bristol in England. Like today, this is what it's like. It's windy and wet. So yeah, we love to come to Albuquerque for beautiful blue skies and the sun. And so back home we've got lots of hills and valleys, so it's a very different sort of flying, not flat, we can't see for very far, exact opposite of what we normally fly, so this is great fun to come here.
Where else do you go besides Albuquerque on a regular basis?
Albuquerque is our number one choice. We like to come to Albuquerque. We've made so many friends, everybody's so friendly. And when we fly out, the people in the towns come and help and come and catch, and everybody's really supportive, so we love that. We do go abroad in other places, but Albuquerque is always our number one choice.
That's fantastic. And if anyone wants to go help Howl with the Wolf Balloon, you guys are on M3.
M3, yeah.
And you'll be out there in the morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ruth, and nice to see you, Ashley. It's good to have you here. Ashley with West the Wolf is part of the fleet of critters, for lack of a better term, that are here as a part of the Longleat and the exclusive ballooning group. They're down there all together. We have West the Wolf, the new koala bear is there. We have Puddles and Splash and Tall Steve, the 3 penguins, and Simbaloo with Richard Penny as the pilot. Richard's a good friend of mine from over in England. And those balloons are all brought to us by exclusive ballooning as part of Sky Safari over in Longleat.
I just hope that the Hunter Boot, which is joining that fleet, is really out on a photo expedition for those animals and not out there for other kinds of hunting purposes.
Well,
a photo hunt.
Yeah, well, they are, at their heart, they are rain boots, and so,
Yeah.
But speaking of photo missions, I actually helped, Ed Chapman is the pilot of the Hunter Boot, and I actually helped them arrange a photo flight, a special photo flight mission up in Santa Fe a few days prior to the opening of Balloon Fiesta. They got into town a few days earlier, and got them in touch with my good friend Johnny Lewis, who runs Ride Balloon up there in Santa Fe, Ride Balloon Company, and so Ed and the Hunter Boot team went up there, and I understand they got some fantastic photos.
Look at that shot.
Speaking of photos, look at that. That's looking way back. Oh, wow.
Off to the west, yeah.
Off to our west.
Yeah, we kind of get our particular view is blocked by the tree, but our camera view.
And look at that flame in the sky. And literally it is flame
great?
Orange over there.
Yeah.
As was it John Denver that once wrote, I think I've seen fire in the sky?
Yep.
Or was that James Taylor? I forget.
One of the two.
Anyway.
Both great songwriters and performers.
Both great songwriters and performers.
Yes.
So, but that is fire in the sky right there. That's awesome.
So I'm taking a look down the field to see if Cannon is starting to put some cold air in the balloon. I don't see that activity yet. Where is that one coming from?
I don't. Where's that feedback? Is that this radio? No.
Nope, because we're not on that channel.
That might have been the Balloon Meister's
Balloon
radio.
Meister's channel.
Yeah.
Yep. So I just
and
saw a burner
again,
go off down there. So the pilots are ready to go once we get the official word here.
But yeah, those flags down there are still fairly active. There's somebody doing a little bit of a burner glow.
I'm seeing a couple chase trucks that I recognize there. The red one right at the bottom, the truck with the trailer.
That's Cutie Dink,
That's
isn't
Cutie
it?
Dink.
Yeah.
My cat, rest in peace, actually did take a balloon ride in that balloon one time. And then, yes, she did.
I would never be able to get Bailey, and your Sonny and my Bailey were very similar and almost the same ages. I would never be able to get my Bailey in a balloon. She would take my arm off.
As long as she was in your arms with people, then she was okay.
No.
At the very bottom of that picture that we had, there was a black truck, which is the Squawkers balloon, which is the parrot head.
Oh, the parrot head, Squawk.
Yes, actually Squawkers.
Is it
now.
Squawkers?
Well,
okay.
Ursula Richards bought the balloon.
Okay.
And so added the UR to Squawk to represent her initials. So now that's why it's Squawkers.
Okay.
That's the change
cool.
there.
That's
She's
cool.
got a really cute pin this year. And I probably can't describe it on the air without getting in trouble. So there's Cutie Dink, and if they were to just kind of tip down a little bit, we'd see the Squawkers trailer.
There it is,
the black
right in
trailer
the very
there.
bottom right corner. There you see it.
There's
okay.
Squawkers, and I'm bringing this up because you guys had a great shot this morning of Cutie Dink looking away from you.
Yes.
Into Beagle Maximus.
Right.
So it's like the dog and the cat are kind of
Facing
squaring
off. Yeah.
And Squawkers pressed right up against Cutie Dink, looking the other way.
Well,
like I'm just going to be incognito here.
The shot that I remember from this morning was Beagle Maximus when it inflates, because it puts its Maximus up in the air first.
Yes, it does.
That's just the way the balloon was manufactured. And so when it's inflated, the Maximus part of Beagle is the first thing that sticks straight up in the air, which is always kind of comical, I think. Hey, Ruth has another special guest known to both of us very well, and a lot of people here in the Albuquerque area. And this is, well, I'll let Ruth tell who she is. I won't give it away. Ruth, go ahead.
I'm with Judy Nakamura here tonight. Judy is on the Balloon Fiesta Board of Directors, and she was telling me yesterday that she had a really interesting experience this week. She took advantage of the glamping that's available on the field. What's that all about,
wow.
Judy?
Glamping is a new opportunity presented by Balloon Fiesta. We have about 15 tents set up at the corner of Alameda and Balloon Fiesta Museum Drive, and these great tents, comfortable mattresses, hot water. It was an extraordinary camping experience.
Wow, and can just anybody go in and rent one of those tents?
You can through the lodging office of Balloon Fiesta, and not only was accommodations comfortable, but the Balloon Fiesta office offered all sorts of snacks and towels and all sorts of additional goodies.
That sounds really, really fun.
It was really cool because the people that glamped as well were like-minded, and we had a great time around the campfire and cooking s'mores, and we had a really, really good time.
Oh my gosh, s'mores too. That sounds fantastic. Judy, thank you for joining us. I know
Yes.
you're getting out there to glow. Have fun tonight.
Thank you so much, Ruth.
Thanks, Ruth, and thank you, Judy. And I think we did just have a quick shot of some cold inflation activity going on with the cannon balloon there. One thing I was about to comment on that we talked about this morning is there's the shot, and I think that's the cannon balloon.
It would be.
Doing a little bit of fluff and puff at least in there. But I did want to comment again as we watch our monitors. It looks like it's still very bright and daylight here at Balloon Fiesta Park. Trust me, folks, night has fallen. And we can't see, I literally cannot see that cannon balloon with my naked eye, but I can see it through the magical technology and the great luminescence of these cameras that we have that have such great vision, night vision. And it hasn't been that many years ago, well, maybe it has been, but I can remember when I worked in television, and I know, Art, you know this too, shooting video or back in the day, film at this hour of the day was next to impossible unless you had a huge bank of lights.
Right.
The video technology, the ability of cameras to see so well in low light is just incredible. And tonight we're seeing that because these look like daylight or certainly twilight images, and it's not twilight, folks. It's dark out here.
It is. And not only due to the technological advances in the cameras and things in general, part of our production crew is down there tweaking those cameras so that as the light changes, we continue to be able to see these shots.
I think changing the white balance is what they're up to.
The white balance, the light levels, all of those types of things. I think the generic term is kind of camera shading.
Okay.
Is the TV term that we do. And having someone down there that's taking care of just that for us, in addition to making sure the graphics are on the screen, that the shot is ready, the camera person is ready, the interviews, the audio.
Yeah. If you watch live sporting events, and of course I know on the NFL channel tonight there's an NFL game about to start or may have already started, and I remember watching Monday Night Football, and at some point they always take a shot inside the production trailer, and you see these row of monitors and all of these people sitting there doing all these different tasks. Well, we have that. We don't have one that's that big.
Nope.
But we do have our own production trailer, and we have Gary and Steve, and I'm not sure who all else is downstairs in the trailer, and they're calling the shots and getting us these great shots on camera and capturing this incredible video. So we actually have our own little production team at work, not only out on the field, but also downstairs in our very own Balloon Fiesta Live production trailer.
And the entire team has been just super to work with. We've thrown lots of little curves and desires as the executive producer, kind of knowing what I want the show to look like. It's, hey, Gary, can we do this? And Gary, can we do that? And he has come through on every one of those for us.
Absolutely.
So we are definitely pleased. And while we don't necessarily interact with the camera people, they kind of have a fixed camera on us. Camera folks are out there getting the wonderful shots that you see. And but all of the reports we're having from the creative side of this, working with them, all very positive, and just dealing with. They've just been a great crew all the way around.
Yeah, we have
been there for everything we've needed and wanted.
Absolutely, we have a remote camera that's a static camera on us, so that when we come onto the set with our camera
maybe he'll pop
view,
it up. We'll wave.
We'll that camera doesn't have an operator; it's just static and focused on us. But we do have camera operators spread around the field, including right here on the tower just beside us. We have
so you get the view that we get, as well as the ones from the field, and they can show us things we don't see.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about it now is that
look at
actually
that crowd.
Yeah, it's amazing. Actually, we see a lot of times viewpoints and things on the field that we would not otherwise see if we didn't have those other cameras.
Here's a perfect example. The basket end of that balloon, we can see it looking forward, but you're looking at it from the total other opposite end, looking back towards us. That's the top of the cannon balloon.
Right, and that top is facing the north end of the field, so that view is looking from north back to the south where we're located, and we're on the opposite end of that balloon. If we were to be able to see it from here with our camera shot, we would see the basket end of the balloon. So, yeah, it's just
and
another
we're high
example.
enough we don't get the spectator's head.
Right, yeah.
Hey, there's the Too Grateful hot air balloon team trailer.
Yep.
That's Scott Vesley, who flies and produces the Dawn Patrol show for us.
Yes.
Now, he has a regular shaped balloon that is called Too Grateful, so he can't participate in the Glowdeo with his Too Grateful balloon, but he should be putting up Annie the ladybug.
Ladybug?
The ladybug balloon for us tonight.
Now, see, that's the view of the balloon that we have,
Yes.
more or less, from our end. That's from south looking north. There is the that big white tent to the right in that shot is the Juried Arts and Crafts show, and then I think the one just to the left is that's kind of an L shape there is part of the Balloon Discovery Center.
Yes.
And it looks like now Johnny may have decided that it's still a bit too windy because it looks to me like they've
There's
just
a
lot of
little
the
floor
air
and it's less,
has just escaped. So I think they've pulled the top and decided that it's still perhaps a bit too windy to successfully and safely stand that balloon up. And that certainly is a concern because, as we talked earlier, this is the one event where spectators are not held behind a crowd line. They can get right out up close and personal with the balloons. But for that reason, we have to be even more cautious about inflations and those sorts of things because we have to keep the safety of the crowd, the spectators in mind, as well as that of the pilots and crew.
And I just got official word here that Johnny and Cannon are going to wait just a little bit longer here now. We did have exactly what you was suggesting there was happening is indeed happening, and so we're going to delay here just a few more minutes and see. In fact, just as we said that, I felt the breeze come up here on the rooftop studio.
Just in front of us is the Canon corporate tent, not the public tent where they have all their equipment on display, but their corporate tent for their VIPs, and they have a Canon wind flag in it, and it just almost bent double all of a sudden. And
just as you were talking about what Johnny was doing with the balloon.
Exactly, yes. So those winds have suddenly gusted out of the south, and so yeah, Johnny using the discretion being the better part of valor. That's the shot of the Canon, and you see that
corporate
wind flag
tent,
right there by that Coca-Cola bottle.
Yeah.
That was almost bent completely double over, almost touching the ground as we were talking a moment ago, as that gusty wind did come through.
You know, this is another way that you can become a sponsor of Balloon Fiesta. Canon, of course, our presenting sponsor. The Coke bottle kind of masking the words Coca-Cola on the tent
just
right next
door,
to it.
right?
Coca-Cola, our official soft drinks. But there are other tents like this available for you to rent out for a night or for a morning, where you could bring your customers out or your employees out and have a party at Balloon Fiesta.
We have catering services available. Mission
you get your
Linens
heaters,
provide all
that
the linens
great
and
stuff.
setup. All that stuff can be taken care of for you. And it could be a great annual outing for your company and your employees. Maybe a benefit for your customers. And again, Laurie and the folks in the sponsor office are the ones that you would contact to get more information about that.
And you can get to them directly from balloonfiesta.com.
Yes.
Direct links there and a whole list of the sponsor package opportunities as well, all on the website. Now we see that, so there's folks taking pictures out there. We see how those cameras glow. We might try. Oh, there we go. Wake up.
It's funny how people always jump when you reach up and hit the burner. Sometimes even if they know it's coming, it can be a surprise. If you don't know that it's going to happen, it can shock you and surprise you. But even if you know it's coming, sometimes it can be a bit. People do take a little step back.
Well, yes, and it can be quite loud, and
it's
of course
loud.
The brightness there. You just see how the whole shot lights up. You're talking about the lighting of the lighting we're doing on these cameras to get this kind of shot. That's it. Ruth Lynn down there has found a fan of balloon glows and glowdeos, right, Ruth?
Yes, I'm down here with Sharon and Jerry Capasso from Columbus, Ohio.
Woo!
All the way to Balloon Fiesta. This is your first time here.
Yes, it is.
And why? I mean, was this a bucket list item?
Bucket list item. We're celebrating 20 years of marriage.
Yeah.
Our anniversary party. Woo!
And
Here in
getaway
Albuquerque.
vacation. Yeah.
That sounds great. Were you out for any of the flights during the morning flights?
We got canceled on
Well,
Wednesday.
we were up for the morning one today, though. It was a fantastic day today.
That's
They were
great.
floating all over, high and low, and back and forth, and we saw the guy that dropped the ring on the stake for the competition, which was fantastic.
That was a first.
Wow.
Yeah, that's terrific. Is this your first balloon festival?
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Can
so,
you
yeah,
tell?
Yeah.
Well, it's great to see you having such a good time.
no,
Welcome
having
to
a ball.
Albuquerque and welcome
We're
to
hoping
Balloon
for-
Fiesta.
We're hoping for a little bit of Glowdeo tonight, though,
Yeah.
so, you know.
And we'll be-
Well,
got our fingers crossed.
we're all hoping
Coming
for
back
that.
for a ride. Woo!
We're all hoping for that. Thank you so much for joining us and enjoy the glow tonight.
Right on.
Go Buckeyes!
Ohio!
Oh, that's fun. And yeah, I think the gentleman they may have seen get his ring on the pole this morning, Zarek Wells, got one of the poles. But then we found out this evening there were, what, 5 people?
5 people actually managed
that
to get
managed to get
the
on the
pole.
poles this morning. We couldn't see a lot of that this morning just because of the layout of the land and where the balloons were landing in front of Kim and I. But we were actually talking during the show about Zarek making a nice approach toward one of the poles, but we just didn't see him get the ring over it. But good on him.
Hey, you want to test the capabilities of our production folks?
Okay, let's go.
I'm going to send them a picture of Zarek after hitting the pole, dropping his
Ringing the
ring
pole.
on
Yeah,
the pole.
yeah,
here.
okay, he didn't hit
He didn't
the
hit
pole.
the pole. He dropped the ring on it, so he hit the pole with his ring just perfectly.
Hey, there's that Monday Night Football shot. Are you ready for some football? Look at that. That's our production trailer, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go.
There's the crew.
There we go.
That's awesome. Can I come down there and work with you guys? I used to do that. I started out back in 1975 working at KFDM television in my hometown of Beaumont. I was what was known then as a booth announcer, and I did commercial voiceovers, and then on the top and the bottom of each hour, I had a very specific window in which they threw up a station ID slide, and I had to say KFDM TV, Channel 6, Beaumont. That was my gig. And I worked in my director was just across from me, a lovely guy named Bob Sarton. And one of his favorite, he would always, the way that he would get us ready, it was always, okay, guys, stand by to stand by. And,
Right.
And I've loved stand by to stand by. I just always loved that. Bob, I don't know if you're out there in the world anywhere. We haven't been in touch in years, but he was a great guy to work for. I just loved my time there.
So, Gary, I've just texted you that picture of Zarek, and so if you can transfer that over, that would
Look
just
at
be
that
kind of a
shot.
fun. Yeah, and if we look out, I mean, the sky is dark now looking out
Yeah,
that way.
we
So
don't see-
The camera shading of this is great.
It's
You
just
see the lights
yeah.
of the city on the west side of Albuquerque. There it is. Look at that.
There's Zarek.
There's what ringing a pole looks like after you do it.
Rocking a mohawk, by the way. The guy's got an awfully good-looking mohawk.
He actually made it yellow to match his new yellow balloon with the mustache.
Absolutely.
Now, if he'd grown a black mustache, that would have
That would have been too
completed
cool.
the picture.
Absolutely, yeah. Hey, Ruth has another special guest. I'm a big fan of Broadway shows. Whenever I'm over in the UK every year, I make a point of seeing a show in London each summer. And I know one of my favorite shows, I actually first saw it in Edinburgh, Scotland, is coming here to Albuquerque, and that's the Wicked production. And we have Stan Hess, who, Ruth, is the chief pilot on the Wicked balloon. Is that right?
That's right. Stan is the chief pilot of the Wicked balloon, and I absolutely love it because being from Maine, Wicked is about every other word out of my mouth. When I saw that balloon last year, I posted it on Facebook immediately. Stan, tell us about Wicked coming to Albuquerque.
Well, have you seen the Wicked, the Broadway musical?
No, I have not yet.
Oh, you got to see it, Ruth.
Ruth. Everybody should see it at least twice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's coming to Albuquerque, October 17th. It will be on the university campus at the Pope Joy Theater. And tickets are still available, but I understand they will be sold out within the next 5-7 days.
Oh my goodness, so people had better get cracking and go get their Wicked good tickets for this show.
Wicked is one of the nicest family-friendly shows you will ever imagine. There's no profanity, there's no sexual innuendo. You could take your grandmother, your small children, and have the time of your life. It's just a great show, and the music is phenomenal.
I think I need to do that. I've read the books, Wicked and Son of a Witch, and there's one more by Gregory Maguire, and I have never seen the show, and I think it sounds like I need to go do that.
Yeah, the the writer who you just mentioned of the Wicked book lives in Vermont, right by Thetford. So, and he comes to the Balloon Festival at Quechee occasionally.
Oh, no kidding. He's from, because I lived in Post Mills, which was part of Thetford, for 10 years. I can't believe I didn't meet him.
He's probably a neighbor, but he's written it, and we've seen the show in New York a couple of times. The show is really, really nice. Anyone would enjoy it, so get your tickets and come on out to the Pope Joy.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us, Stan, and we look forward to seeing that balloon for the rest of the week. Glenn, we'll send it back up to you guys.
Okay, Ruth, thanks. And Stan is absolutely right. In fact, I saw an ad on television locally here just a day or two ago about Wicked coming, and I thought, oh, wow, I'll stay and see it, because I normally stay over Sunday night and leave Monday.
Right.
But it's still another day or two away before it opens, because as Stan is right, you need to see it at least twice. I saw it for the first time in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I thought, wow, it'll be a great chance to see Wicked again, but I've got to leave and head home on Tuesday or Monday morning. So I'm not going to be able to see it here.
I will
but I'll
see
catch
it
it on
for
the
you.
road again. Will you see it?
I will see it.
Yeah, Bobby said you have tickets.
We already have
You
tickets.
Rascally
well, and the
devil,
last time Wicked was in town, we actually did go see it twice. We usually have season tickets to the Broadway shows. And
Okay.
We're down in the orchestra section,
Yeah.
5 or 6 rows in. But we bought a second performance and went and sat up in the balcony.
Oh.
And got to see it from a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
And of course, with the witches flying around and all
Yeah.
the light effects that actually hit the stage that you don't quite see being up where we normally are, it was like a whole nother performance. Both of them absolutely fabulous.
And for those who may not be familiar with what Wicked is, it is a prequel to the
Wizard
famous
of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Absolutely. And
you find out how all those things happen.
how all those characters became who they are and why. And yeah, it's a brilliant. Stan was right. It's a brilliant family show. And as I say, I was thrilled. I got to see it actually in a performance on Christmas Eve 2014
nice.
in Edinburgh, Scotland. I was just in heaven all the way around.
And of course, one of the hit songs from it, Defying Gravity.
Defying
That's
Gravity.
on the side of
Yep.
Wicked, fits perfectly in with the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
Well,
that was
and
our theme a few years ago, Defying
Gravity. That's right. And a few years ago, when my niece Courtney King was out with me, she's a huge Broadway fan and play. In fact, she works for a digital marketing agency in New York City that promotes the show that she's promoting right now is Mean Girls. She's on their marketing team. But
that
she
hadn't
came
quite
out.
opened when I was in New York recently.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, she came
wasn't
out.
even quite in previews yet, but it was about to be. We saw
Yeah.
all the signs for it.
Well, and she was just in Chicago seeing the next show that she'll be representing. But she came out and spent the week here at Fiesta with me one year, a few years ago, and I got her hooked up with the Wicked team because she was a big fan. And I got some great photographs of her and the team all in their various witches costumes. So yeah, Wicked is special to our family for sure.
So they've just texted to the pilots that the winds have not calmed down yet. And
Well,
we're
we
gonna
could have
give
texted that to them.
Yes, but the next part is the yeah. So they are going to wait until 7:15, which is just another 8 minutes or so away, and they will
Okay.
make a final decision as to whether we're going to continue to wait, give it up, or do it. So we're just a few minutes away from a final decision.
Okay.
There's some discussions going on with the officials that are up here on the rooftop studio with us, and so hang with us for a few more minutes, and we will have some sort of official word for you. Of course, while it may be too windy for balloons to stand up, at this point it's not too windy for Fast Track to drop in with their pyrotechnic skydive show.
Oh, it's not, because
It's not.
the other night when we had high winds, it was also too windy for them.
But it was much windier the other night.
Okay.
For that. It's not too windy for fireworks, and it's never too windy, it seems, for a laser light show.
Well, that's true.
So we have a few activities yet to do tonight, if in fact we do not. It is not feasible for us to stand up the special shapes. But we have another night, too, because this just being Thursday, tomorrow is a repeat of today with a special shape rodeo in the morning. Well, we will stand the special shapes up here. Many of them will fly. Many of them will decide to do a static display for you. We'll send the Fiesta Flyer regular shaped balloons off the field, and we'll have fly-in competition again tomorrow. More poles that you can put the ring on. The prizes tend to be bigger prizes on Friday than they are on Thursday. And so we'll see if that indeed shapes out to be the case as well. And technically, it's also the last day of the overall competition.
Right.
This morning, you had a minimum double double drop event going on, as well as the Ring the Poles. The Ring the Poles really a separate event from those others.
Yeah,
so
you can ring the pole and win a prize regardless of how you score in the overall competition.
Exactly. So one more day of the fly-ins for the overall competitions as well tomorrow. So another fabulous day on tap for tomorrow. And then tomorrow night we're scheduled to go through this whole evening thing again, hopefully with less winds, with Fast Track's skydiving team dropping in at about 5:45. Our Balloon Glow around 6:30. The Laser Light Show, Fast Track's dropping back in with fireworks, and the Afterglow fireworks again tomorrow night. Saturday's schedule, it's a mass ascension out of here with a Balloon Glow Saturday night, and then Sunday morning the farewell mass ascension. So we still have 4 more activities once we conclude tonight for you to partake of, and school is out. No need to get to bed early because you have to get up early for school. You just have to get up early for Balloon
Fiesta. Get up
Fiesta.
early to get in here. There was some, again, this morning there were some online complaints about traffic, and we made a point of saying that there's no such thing as getting up too early. You need to get up early and be here if you want to get into the field in time to see everything.
For years, those of us who live here have been telling people that you really needed to be on the field by 5.
Yeah.
Now I'm finding that everyone is heeding that advice. And so now I'm pushing that back to 4:30, 4:45, depending on the day. As I came in the very first day before 4 o'clock, there was already a line for me.
Well, and if you remember, I was already here. You were surprised that I beat you in on
you
opening
did.
day.
You did.
And I've done that for years because my fear has been that I would get caught in traffic, and given the role that I have here, it wouldn't do for me to be stuck in traffic. I can't call it in or phone it in. So, I always make sure I have usually about an 0300 wake up on the weekend so that I can be sure and get into the park. And back in the day, I don't do it so much anymore, but there used to be several years I would be here when the gates opened at 4 a.m., pull into my parking spot, and then, in fact, I remember the year that that Courtney was here with me, she was a little surprised at that because we pulled into our parking spot while it was still dark 30, as I like to say, and lay the seats in the truck back and snuggle up under our jackets and took a bit of a nap before, and then I set an alarm on my phone to wake me up in time to get up and get onto the tower. Hey, I know that I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. I grew up in Texas, Texas native. I know, I'm sorry. But I know there are football fans out there, and so just as an added public service for those that are curious, the Eagles and the Giants are playing tonight, and going into the second quarter, it's the Eagles 14, the Giants 3. So those of you from Philadelphia can hoot and holler, and those of you from New York can have another beer.
We have a great shot of the Gondola Club.
Yeah,
we mentioned the Gondola Club earlier. Just as we mentioned it, they kick off of it there. But the Gondola Club in the southwest corner of the field, a place where you have your own shopping area, much less your own porta potty area. On the permanent potties, you have the drivers, the courtesy shuttles that will take you around. You have a special route into the period. Gourmet cooked meals. It's a great experience to enjoy the Balloon Fiesta from the Gondola Club. In addition, they also have navigators who are ambassadors down there who will answer all your questions and tell you all the stories that we can't tell up here on the stage. They'll tell you those as well. So there's a great shot of the Gondola Club. It's a great place to watch Balloon Fiesta from.
It's a little bit like an old-fashioned nightclub that they used to, dinner club, supper club you could go to.
Well, at nights there's entertainment down there as well.
Absolutely.
There's an open bar there as well.
So that's definitely worth checking out. And you can get more information about the Gondola Club on the website as well, balloonfiesta.com, which is kind of your one-stop shopping place for any information you want to learn about Balloon Fiesta. And but there is, you can see they've got quite a crowd in there this evening, having a great time. They have their own little veranda with their own tables and chairs. You can sit out on a nice morning or a nice evening and watch the balloons. And like we said, catered meals. And there, of course, are adult beverages available and that sort of thing. So it's something you might definitely want to check out if you want to come out to Balloon Fiesta Park and feel like a real VIP. Very important person, as a matter of fact. And there's another shot of another crew. The crews are still standing by, but, I got to tell you, it's becoming more and more a question of whether or not we'll get this pulled off tonight because the winds just don't seem to be calming down. Here on the rooftop, they're blowing pretty strong. And, again, watching that Canon wind flag out in front of the Canon sponsor tent, it's blowing pretty heavily. So Art is busy having a discussion right now with our balloon meister and safety officials get an update on what the plans are for our glow this evening. But the last update we had was that whether the glow goes or not, we do expect that Team Fast Tracks will do their pyrotechnic jump. And that should be something to see. They were not able to do it earlier this week. We've not seen that show yet. We've seen them do their early evening jump with the American flag twice now. But they did not. The winds the other night when we canceled the glow on Sunday evening were so strong that we also had to cancel the skydivers. So you have
so
some
actually,
updates?
Brad Kiemeyer is up here with the safety officials, and they're taking a look at those upper winds about Team Fast Track right now.
Okay.
Keep filling, and we'll have some answers for you momentarily.
Okay. So the director is standing over there doing this, the old stretch sign, Phil. But yeah, unfortunately, we were not able to get Team Fast Tracks to do their pyrotechnic jump, so none of us have seen that show yet. We keep hoping, and we should have a decision on that, as Art just said, in a few moments, as their folks and our weather officials are huddling together to see what impact what the upper winds aloft are doing. There is in the shot the trailer of, and you can read the name, Steve Comedina, and Steve is here with his special shape, Great Expectations. That's a Stork balloon, with the Stork delivering its very own special package, representative of Steve's line of work, as well as being a balloonist. He's been a member of the board of directors here at Fiesta, longtime supporter of ballooning, and a personal friend of mine. Some years ago, I arrived into Albuquerque and wasn't feeling quite well and didn't know obviously a lot of people here, but I called Steve up at his home and said, Steve, I don't feel really well. And he actually put me in touch with the top cardiologist here, and fortunately it was no big deal. I was fine. But it was wonderful to have a friend like Steve to be able to call on. There are a couple of our launch directors, our zebras or zebras, depending on where you are in the world. And you saw them for a moment in those black and white referee uniforms. That goes way back to our founder, Sid Cutter, when they started the first Balloon Fiesta, and then we hosted the first World Hot Air Balloon Championship here in Albuquerque. And for that, Sid wanted the launch directors to be identifiable or easily identifiable, and so he came up with the idea of putting them in black and white striped referee uniforms, and thus began the tradition of our launch directors being zebras or zebras. And today, as you've seen throughout the week, and you'll see certainly if you're on site, those launch directors throughout the launch field doing what they do best, which is controlling the crowd and helping. There they are. The pilots launch in a safe and coordinated launch, as we heard Tom saying earlier, but they do now often embellish their black and white uniforms. A lot of times now there's more than just a black and white striped jersey. Now these two are not terribly outlandish. The one has the nice black and white balloon hat on there, but we've seen some that have quite the extensive zebra costume. But these are experienced pilots and crew people, largely from the Albuquerque area, who frankly give up their opportunity to fly and participate as pilots and crew so that they can be of service to the other pilots who come from around the world to be here. So hats off to our zebras or our zebras, and our zebras in training are the folks we lovingly call zits.
Those are the ones in the red hats.
Those are the ones that have red hats, but the black and white uniform.
They spent a couple of years as a zebra in training to be able to be up to speed and provide that safe, coordinated launch effort.
Well, it's not just something you jump into, because they have a tremendous responsibility. Each launch director has a handful of balloons that they are responsible for, and so they spend a lot of time literally on the move down on the field, because they check in with each balloon they're responsible for when they arrive on the field at their launch site, make sure they're up to speed on everything. They watch the inflations, and once the balloons are up and ready, then they are the ones who clear the crowd out of the way. They check the traffic overhead for the pilots, because you can't see overhead from your balloon. Make sure that the sky is clear, and then give them the thumbs up to launch. So yeah, they have a very difficult and a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. So it's not something that anybody could just step out there and do without the proper training.
Well, because this becomes the busiest airport anywhere in the world for the 2 hours of a mass ascension or a competition launch. When you're putting 550 balloons up out of an 80-acre space, it is extremely busy, and therefore congested, therefore the need for all the safety and the extra launch officials.
Absolutely.
So I do have the official word here for where we are going. We've just passed 7:15. Unfortunately, the winds are not calming down as we need them to, so we have officially canceled the Glowdeo part of this evening.
Okay.
So there will be no balloon inflations tonight. However, we've talked about all the other activities that were on schedule, and we're adjusting the times of those. So at 7:20, or in just a couple of minutes here, we should see the laser light show take place, and we anticipate lengthening that show a little bit here.
Okay.
So very shortly, once they get the lasers fired up, we'll be able to see those. The best place to see those, right smack dab down in the middle of the field.
Absolutely. For years, sitting up here, I knew we had the laser light show, and I could never see it. I thought, what's all this stuff about? I don't see anything so exciting about that. Then one year, you did as we now do, you took over doing Dawn Patrol show on Wednesday morning.
Yes.
So I went down on the field to get up close with the Dawn Patrol team, and lo and behold, it was like, wow, this is so cool.
The
and it was the
pictures
laser
that have
light
come
show.
back, and I'm like you. I've never seen it from up here. We're above the lasers.
Exactly. So
you
we
have
don't
to
see
be
it.
below them, and that's where the view is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
so
is
if you're
exactly
down on the
view.
field, you're in the perfect spot to get a great view, and it is an awesome show.
So that
it's
should
just
be
I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, that should be starting here in a few minutes. We did just check the winds, and at this point, we believe Fast Track will still be able to jump at 8 o'clock, which was their scheduled time. And, of course, that's pyrotechnics, fireworks in the sky, coming out of the sky about 8 o'clock, and that will kick off our Afterglow fireworks.
Okay.
So while we will not be standing balloons up tonight, we still have a lot of light stuff to take a look at with the laser light show starting any moment now, and our Fast Track skydiving team coming in, and then, of course, the fireworks as well.
Sounds like an exciting night.
So I think what we're going to do here is let's leave our feed up. Let's you and I take a short break and enjoy the laser light show. We'll come back just before the team skydive fast track jump and call that and let it go into the fireworks, and we'll move on from there.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
So enjoy the view and our great shots of the laser light show, which I think you'll be seeing shortly. And we'll be back with you in about 30 minutes or so.
There's the start of the light show.
There's the light show. Enjoy this. We'll be back in 30 minutes to bring in the skydivers or update you on that situation as it goes.
So as my old director used to say, stand by to stand by.
We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Maybe we'll do tomorrow night. I'll give you the keys.
I'm down to come in. Let's get a group, whoever wants to come. What time did we leave here today? Like 9:30? I know, what time we leave here? And all this shit. Yeah, like tired of it already. I came all the way here. Why don't they have the lasers going the whole time? They sort of schedule it. You guys come in the morning. Follow me. Karen, let's go.
try this way.
Well, I saw a hole.
Over this way. Over this way.
And we are back live.
We are.
Continuing with what was to be a rodeo Glowdeo night and no Glowdeo.
No
But
Glowdeo.
We're going to have some rodeo.
Well, we are, and we just had a great firework or laser
Glowdeo
light
going
show.
on.
Yep, there's still some going on there. Great laser light show going on there. And just for a quick second there, you may have gotten a glimpse, if you were watching, of the Team Fast Track skydivers all lit up in the plane. They are overhead. We are approximately 6 minutes away from their jump. And so, by the way, you know, Team Fast Tracks does these jumps all across the country. In fact, last weekend they had like 5 teams jumping. And they are all about honoring the servicemen and women who have given their lives for this country. And we were remiss in not pointing out that dedication earlier today. They dedicated our 545 show to Army Sergeant Ruben M. Fernandez III of Abilene, Texas. He died on October 11th, 2008 during Operation Iraqi Freedom. And so they always want to make sure that they have that dedication that's out there. We apologize for not getting that with that particular jump. The night jump that we're about to see here is dedicated to Army Specialist Matthew C. Powell of Slidell, Louisiana. He died October 12th, 2010, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. So a couple of folks that they wanted to make sure that they honored by making their jump.
Well, in a couple of locations, those 2 servicemen that are somewhat close to me, I overnight in Abilene each year on the way here and the way home. And then, of course, I make my home just outside of Shreveport, Louisiana, and Slidell, not that far away, opposite end of the state, more or less, but still not that far away.
Team Fast Tracks is a veteran-owned professional skydiving team, as you might guess. They're based out of Middleton, Ohio, and sponsored by Selection.com. Team's been around for about 16 years, more than 40 active members, which I think I mentioned before. They've done more than 175,000 skydives. Individually, they're all, the 4 that are jumping here are all in the 4,000 to 5,000 or higher range. Of course, it takes 1,000 jumps to even try out for the team.
Yeah, and just a bit of trivia, Middletown, Ohio was actually host to the U.S., the VFA's U.S. National Hot Air Balloon Championship some years back in the 90s, as I recall.
And 4 minutes away from the jump, we're actually monitoring the radio traffic between the ground controller and the aircraft here, so we keep getting the countdowns there. Matt Harvey is one of the jumpers. He's also their event coordinator for this event. Free fall, pyrotechnic flag, and tandem skydive specialist from Columbus, Ohio. Dimitri Dedic is from Serbia. He moved to the United States 6 years ago to be a professional skydiver. Started when he was 17. Yulia Pengburn is a canopy relative work specialist and videographer. She'll be jumping with the helmet, the sky helmet,
right.
So the view we'll see is what she sees in the air. And her husband, Brian Pengborn, has served on the U.S. parachute team from 2003 to 2016. He's earned a total of 52 USPA championship medals, including 24 golds, 12 FAI World Championship medals, 6 of those gold. He has 12 FAI World Records and 2 Guinness Book of World Records for the largest canopy formation.
Now, I'm not being critical, mind you, but I've noticed twice now, this afternoon and tonight, when you've introduced them, you've introduced the lady, Ulia, with, and you've called her Pingburn, and then you've gotten to her husband and called it Pangborn. So, which is it?
Well,
Pangburn.
Pangburn.
Pangburn. Okay.
Just in both cases.
Just curious.
So obviously, Ulia has the purple, because that's her helmet cam that we're seing.
Right.
And I can't recognize for the helmets which one the others are. I got to meet them all last week. And so, but we'll see one in green and one in orange. And if Ulia would turn her head, we'd see the other jumper here. So you can see they're already lit up. So when they leave the plane, we're going to be able to see them
right as soon
right
as
off
they
the
exit
bat.
the aircraft.
And
Absolutely.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes away. I'm excited to see this because I used to do an event up in Danville, Illinois, and there's another professional skydive team, the skydiving Elvises, you may be familiar with.
yes.
And they used to come up to Danville, Illinois, and put on a similar jump to this, a nighttime pyrotechnic jump. But I've never seen Team Fast Tracks do it, so I'm curious to see what their show is all about.
They do a lot of jumping into football stadiums for college games.
Oh,
which
okay.
is, they do a lot of that. So if you're watching the college football, you will see them jumping a lot. That is them. And so they're starting to move towards the door there as we get
quick
close.
View of the pilot there at work.
Yeah, Tyler is the pilot.
Yep. And I think we see the
like
ready light on.
Looks like it.
I think that little bit of a yellow-orange light you see in the cabin there is the ready light at the door.
1 minute.
1 minute.
You can even see him waving his finger at him. 1 minute. What?
We should see
Steve doing a great shot.
Yeah.
Now the plane should be a little bit to the south of us if the winds are straight. Yep. We have to keep tracking that plane.
Yeah, and Steve's doing a great job trying to do that, turning around and around with the tripod here. There's the shot of the aircraft.
Yep.
And we should be able to see the jumpers as they exit. There they go.
There they go.
Look at that. Look at this, right out of the aircraft.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yep, you can see them high off the south end of the field. I see 1, 2, 3.
It looks like Ulia just left, so that should be our
4. Well, I see 4 lights up in the sky to the south end of the field high. The idea is that they will ride those south winds out over the field.
4 good canopies. That's always what we want to hear.
That's exactly it.
And, of course, these folks will all jump with reserve chutes so that should there be an issue with the main canopy, they would have a reserve they could cut away to. That's standard practice in skydiving.
So now we see them because of the lights on the suit that we saw. And shortly they
should start. There
they go.
There goes one of the first flares.
Now the fireworks in the sky from our skydiving team. You have to look up, Glenn.
Yeah, I'm looking up, but the skylight.
You see it? Yeah.
Our stage lights. There you see it. Yeah.
Wow.
Our stage lights make it easier to watch it on the monitor, quite frankly.
Great shot from the ground. There's number 2.
Second one coming on. Flame on, as we would say. How awesome.
And then the shot from Ulia's camera there as well.
Yeah,
so you
look
get
at
it
that.
up close as well as what we're getting from here on the ground. So there's the view that they have looking down on the city and the lights of the city.
There's a second flare that's come on again.
This would be a great time if you've got your camera or your flashlight, if you're not taking pictures already, shine your light up so that we can see the field light up.
Yeah,
if you can hear us out there, let's see about lighting up the cameras and give them a great landing mark.
So you're saying reach into your pocket, take out your iPhone,
turn on the flashlight or just the screen
and do
even.
this so that people
point it up at them.
And point it to them.
Point it up at them.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
And then so as they look down, maybe they can see all the lights for us.
And as they get closer to the ground, if we're able to do that,
we'll be able to see the lights as well.
Absolutely. That's an awesome shot.
Awesome shot, yeah. And then from the ground here with our great camera work.
Look at that, wow.
Can you imagine jumping in?
No.
They're going to be kind of looking for a dark spot down there.
Yeah.
There's another set of fireworks being lit off.
Another couple of flares.
Once Team Fast Track gets on the ground here, that'll be the cue for our afterglow fireworks to start up along the north end of the field.
There go the rockets.
Whoa!
Look at this. Yeah. Oh, wow, look at that.
From the air, from the ground, fireworks in the sky from Team Fast Tracks. What a shot. What a great show. Just heard him say on their radio, this is just the warm-up.
Wow.
Jumping is one thing. Jumping in the dark is another. And jumping with fireworks attached to your leg, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Unfortunately, our stage lights are creating quite a glare. I was trying to get a nice shot of it with my iPhone from here. I don't have my Canon camera up here tonight, but I'll definitely bring it up for tomorrow night now that I know what to watch for.
Because, yes, we're scheduled to do this again tomorrow night.
Exactly. And Saturday night, too? Will they do that?
Yes, Saturday night, too.
Yep. Okay. Oh, our top-notch crew just turned out the lights. Thank you, guys. Now you can see the jumpers in their illuminated suits.
Yeah, you can really see those as they come down. Actually start to see the arms and legs. And there's the shot that they're seeing as they're coming in. So there's one on the ground.
Here comes another to the ground. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great shot.
There we are on the ground with number 2. And collapse the chute. Here
I love this shot. This is just so cool.
Yeah, look at that. Nice touchdown, number 3. And
the final jumper coming
waving in for number 4. Yeah. They almost don't even look real, do they? What a great job.
Wow.
Team
Incredible.
Fast Tracks, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, they almost look like characters from the movie Tron coming down on parachutes.
Boy, what a great show.
That's
what
just
a great
awesome.
show.
Man, I can't wait to see that again.
You betcha. Well, tomorrow night, again, they jump at 5:45, bringing the flag in to start off our rodeo Glowdeo. And then they do a quick pack up and head back to the airport, re-suit up. There goes Tyler overhead. Announced to Team Fast Track. Fabulous job once again. Boy, that looked great from here and from your camera views. Thank you very much.
I was going to say keep your radio on. Yeah, you could have kept that up to the mic and we'd have been able to, people would have heard him.
So they'll be back out here to chat with us and mix and mingle with us tomorrow morning.
Yep.
And then again, jump tomorrow evening, and again Saturday evening.
Well, I don't know about you, but that was well worth hanging around tonight for.
Well, I thought so too. You know, we had to cancel
fun.
their jump because of high winds last Sunday night, and so now we've gotten this pyrotechnics out, and everybody's pretty excited.
That's awesome.
With that is the cue for our big fireworks to start. So that will start momentarily out there. Oh, there you're still seeing they still have the camera on, and so you get to see the rigging.
Right.
With the glow sticks that they have all over them.
Yeah.
Yep. So our big fireworks show will start here momentarily out on the north end of the field, and, of course, along the west side fence as well. We're going to leave the fireworks feed up, but Glenn and I are going to head for the bed so that we can be back really dark and early tomorrow.
Another dark 30 wake-up call.
It will be a Special Shapes rodeo.
There we are, with a nice halo.
Well, because they turned off that light over there now.
The front lights they turned off so that we could take some pictures.
And of course, if you're wondering what happened to our backdrop, we continue to get these gusty south winds
from south being right back there,
right behind us.
So yes.
Yep. So anyway, we will be back in the morning. 6:45 Mountain Time is the start of our show.
Yep.
As we bring you another Special Shapes rodeo in the morning. And move through the afternoon with rodeo and Glowdeo. And
so let's hope that these winds die down overnight and we're able to have a great show tomorrow morning as we continue on with day 7 tomorrow?
Let's see. Tomorrow will be 7.
Sunday will be 9. Saturday will be
Sunday's
8.
9.
So tomorrow's day 7.
That's it.
Of the 47th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
And if you have enjoyed Balloon Fiesta Live on Facebook and YouTube and other people's shares, please do share it out for us.
Absolutely.
Let all of your friends and neighbors click those likes, click those follows on YouTube. We would love to get our numbers over 1 million views, and we're well underway to doing that. You could make a liar out of me if we hit 1.5 million. because I only said we'd get 1 million. So we certainly appreciate that. We do read through all the comments, even though we don't always get a chance to respond to them.
I try to check into them afterwards and respond to people I know, of course, and some of the others to say hi, because at least you know that we do see your comments and we appreciate them.
We do. Certainly do those. But do share it out. Let all your friends and neighbors know. And again, 6:45 Mountain Time in the morning. That's 12:45 UTC if you're into converting the time zones.
Yep.
We've had despite the fact we didn't set up special shaped balloons tonight, I think we've had a fabulous night. We've got a lot of people having a great time here. A great show by Team Fast Tracks here. And both jumps that they've done, fireworks to come, laser light show just completed.
Yeah.
And so been great talking to everyone out here and watching this. We hope that you'll be back tomorrow for Ruth Lind and Kim Vesley, who had the night off after filling in for me.
And good to have you back tonight with us.
Thank you.
Glad that you're feeling well, and look forward to finishing out the week with you.
We will make that happen. Of course, all of our Cracker Jack wind fire production team here doing all the camera work and switching work and keeping those cameras working for us. We appreciate them as well.
They're making us look as good as they possibly can.
Which is
a
no tremendous task. That's it. He's
right.
Glen Moyer. I'm Art Lloyd Jr. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in the morning.
Good night.
This has been live coverage of the 2018 Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Canon. Always in October and always in Albuquerque, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is the world's premier ballooning event. This program is a production of AIBF Inc., all rights reserved. Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Live.